Well, take us back to trial prep. When I think everybody remembers when we realized Brian Steele and then Nicole Westmoreland were coming in, but and you were talking about the need for synergy on a team like this, and it seemed like everyone came together. But can you talk about how that started and what you knew about it?
I think a lot of that had to do with Puff. I think the people who really deserve a lot of the credit for where they are, Puff and Mark Agnifilo, in terms of making sure that everybody had a voice and that everybody was able to be kind of swimming in the same direction. And job one was win the case. And like I said, and Xavier, who was added, was tremendous. A great lawyer. I can't say enough about it. And I will tell you that sometimes I would get worried that it wouldn't mesh, but Mark Agnifilo has a wonderful ability. Mark, you saw it on display. I don't know if you did, but anybody who watched the closing, I could see during this trial the couple of times I popped in, he has an avuncular quality to him. He has kind of a tour guide, an affable nature to him, and he's authentic, and jurors can sense authentic. Jurors know when somebody is jobbing them. Jurors are like anybody else. I mean, and mind you, when you put 12 people together, I've said this countless times, I tell juries this, the 12 people really this is the genius of the founding fathers. They knew what AI was before there was ever 250 years before AI. Because I had never had a jury trial or seen a jury trial where the 12 people, when they come together in a deliberation room, don't have some insight that nobody else in that courtroom did. And that's kind of the genius of the jury system.
Yeah. I see SCR in the comments asking why you think Ben Brafman passed on this case. And he's represented Diddy for a long time. And I think right when this first happened, or at least for the lawsuit, maybe he released a statement, or at least people were expecting him to represent him. Can you talk about how your team came into the picture?
Well, look, I count Ben as one of my handful of closest friends in the world. I've known him for actually Michael Jackson, if you can believe that, and adore Ben. I spend a lot of time in the trenches with Ben on various cases. And I remember telling Harvey Weinstein that he would rue the day that Ben Brafman left his defense team. Although he's probably, if I talk to Harvey, who I haven't talked to in a while, he'd probably tell me, well, I got Arthur Idella now. So much for Ben. But Ben to me is, in fact, I've said this to many people. There is Ben Brafman, and then there's everybody else. He's had a career that's just, what a phenomenal career. And by the way, Puff is also the last defendant to be criminally defended by Johnny Cochran and acquitted.
Oh. So was Ben just too busy to take this case, or why didn't he just?
I never really asked. Like I said, Ben's a close friend, but I didn't go there, and obviously he wasn't going to go there with me, given the internecine relationship. And he is birthed. Think about the people who've gone through Brafman and Associates. Alex Spiro was there. Those who don't know, I just talked to Alex and was teasing him a little while ago. Alex is is at Quinn Emanuel, John Quinn's firm, and Alex did won Baldwin's case. Alex also, I think he did Robert Kraft's case, the rub and tug down in Florida. He won Elon Musk's civil case, pedo guy. Here
he does a lot of stuff with Jay-Z and Megan Thee Stallion too. So
exactly. Yeah. So Alex was there. In fact, Alex and my daughter Teny were at Brafman and Associates at the same time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Jacob Kaplan was there. Mark Agnifilo was there for, I don't know, 16 or 18 years, a lifetime when it comes to being a criminal trial lawyer. So Ben's legacy is secured. He's birthed some of the greatest trial lawyers of the next generation.
Yeah. So how was it seeing your daughter do this case? I mean, I'm sure you've seen her do other cases, but this had to have been the most high profile one.
Yeah, it was. I will tell you, for those who don't know, my father, who started in the LA DA's office the same month I was gestated. So January of 1957, he started in the DA's office. I was born in October of 1957. When I grew up, I used to follow him around the court. He was a DA for the first 13 years of my life. I used to joke that I thought my first name was dumb and my middle name was shit, because that's all he called me. And so all I could think of during the opening, I will tell you my personal feelings. I teared up a little bit because he's been gone now for almost 10 years. And I thought, if he could see his granddaughter on this stage, giving that opening and hitting it out of the park, I don't know what he would have done. You know, he was one generation. My grandmother ran away from a Turkish orphanage during the genocide and somehow made it to America, to Chicago, to birth my father when she was 14 years old. And fast forward, her great-granddaughter is, trying cases in the Southern District of New York. It's a great American success story.
Yeah. Do you know, was there any talk after the judge rejected the bail request? During the bail hearing, he really tried to turn the closing argument around and cited what was said about domestic violence. Was there some kind of, oh darn, we shouldn't have said that? Or was it just...
No, not at all. I think there was, oh darn, yes. I mean, that is speaking for me, yes. However, he was his honor was scrupulously looking at the factors. And if you look at the factors, I get it. I mean, and I give the prosecutors, who famously I got excoriated for early on, the credit for making the clever argument. And it was not only clever, but it prevailed.
Yeah.
It is, but you have to, it's fun. It strikes a lot of people as fundamentally unfair. And I get that, and it is, but the system, as my father, invoking him again, used to say, the last place you're going to get justice is in the halls of justice.
Yeah. Well, one thing I always have to tell people about, somebody actually asked me, how many prosecutors were on that case? It's like, well, as Mark said, a 6-pack of white women, and then the judge admonished him for saying that. But I talked to
who I could say now, who exercised 7 peremptories on people of color. So, I want to say I was early money there, but don't get me started. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but the ABA came out with a model rule yesterday, and I was thinking to myself, okay, on peremptories being used by prosecutors. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, I talked to a couple of federal prosecutors in LA, and the one who asked how many prosecutors were on the case, he said he has never heard of that many AUSAs on a case. He was like 6 of them, and 3 of them I kind of roll my eyes on, but I've seen that on cases in LA, and that's understandable, especially when you've got a huge number of witnesses to deal with. But somebody said they've seen 4, and that got like a lot of eye rolls in the office. But
by the way, back in 2008, I tried a case in the Southern District in front of then District Court Judge Larry Burns, who was one of the great federal district court judges. And we had 4 prosecutors on that case. And by the time we were kind of into it a little bit, I started referring to them as the Gang of 4. And I got excoriated for that too. And I said, in a previous life, I was a rock and roll concert promoter. Gang of 4 was a very popular band. So what are you getting upset about? And by the way, 6-pack of white women. 6-pack in LA is what we call a show up when the cops are doing a lineup. You show a 6-pack, meaning 6 pictures, 2 rows of 3 of either booking photos or California driver's license. 6-pack is a way of identifying it. I'm not calling them names or anything else. It's a method of identification that is used as a shorthand.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's flippant. To even say it's derogatory, I think is a real stretch. It's like, well, I mean, they're women. He didn't say anything other than women. There's 6 of them. And there's
I will say, even after Maureen Comey made the application or whatever else, when I did see her and I probably shouldn't say this, but it wasn't in chambers, it was in the cafeteria. I just, prior to the trial starting, I introduced myself and told her to say hi to her father. And I said, tell him, I wonder if he would enjoy the fact that I've been telling my daughter, this is a battle of the Nepo babies. And she got a good laugh out of it. She has a good sense of humor.
That's pretty